I don't know why we talk about this guy, but we're going to talk about it. Ezra Miller. Mr. Ezra Miller is once again caught in some legal trouble. He's in the news. It's being reported that he is facing charges from breaking and entering and theft. Now, this incident did occur back in May, but it's only getting reported on now. And that's pretty typical for smaller, issues like that. It doesn't always get, I think the press release came because a court date was set, which makes sense. That's when that kind of stuff, this smaller stuff would get publicized. But there's a lot, and I'm actually talking to somebody on Twitter today about this, because there's this hashtag Ezra Miller is innocent, and I want to know why people think this. Why do you believe? Why are there people that believe that Ezra Miller is innocent? I've always been told where there's smoke, there's fire, and there is a shit ton of smoke surrounding Ezra Miller. Even some people that both Ken and I know are sitting there pushing this conspiracy idea that, this is all people behind the scenes. They have an agenda to push him out as being the Flash, or to screw up the DC films and this and that. But why? At this point, there's no reason to think that there's any conspiracy to push out Ezra Miller. That, to me, that is just ridiculous and idiotic, really. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think this is a perfect scenario of where, like what you said, where there's a shit ton of fire. There's definitely, where there's a shit ton of smoke, there's a lot of fire. And to be honest with you, I think this is also kind of there's three sides to every story. There's the side that's being media. There's the side that's being presented by Ezra Miller, if he ended up releasing a public statement or just kind of an update of where he's at. But I think, and then the middle ground where there's truth. And while I do believe these accusations, just out of the recycling of the news that we've seen with him lately, in terms of the last, I want to say the past year, it's been just him in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And it seems like he legitimately, we touched on this countless of times, is people getting help for probably may think that they just want to get checked up on and stuff. And it's just troubling to see that this situation has just gone from bad to worse, it seems. And so I feel like when we last talked about this as a segment on the show, we thought it really couldn't get any worse, but it's just found a way for the situation to deteriorate. And it's disappointing for sure. I'm not going to say who, but definitely when the news broke, one of the first things that was said was the Snyderverse is officially dead. And, while that's something that fans will obviously still hope against, it's tough to go against that statement. And for right now, I know there was an article that came out today kind of mulling over the three paths that they want to go with. And you see them right here. And, personally, I hope for Ezra Miller to just get the help that he needs, regardless of whether he issues a public statement or goes through a public interview kind of explaining his behavior, which I believe is a setup for failure as well. I think that's something that could really backfire on Warner Bros. If, things just don't go the way they expected. And, with Ezra Miller, we just come to expect the unexpected. So while these are logical and sensible options, a lot of signs are pointing towards option 2 or option 3 at this point, more realistically than option 1. So,
yeah, I mean, these things that are going on. Look, I can understand if 1 or 2 over the last couple years was a misunderstanding, or nothing to really worry about. But the fact that there have been multiple, over 5, more than half a dozen, probably closer to 10 than not, issues that have happened over the past couple years is absolutely absurd. Absurd. And the fact that people will sit there and say that he's innocent, and I get, in the United States of America, where we're at, and you should know this being in law, you are innocent until proven guilty. And I am all for believing that. But right now, why, like, it's kind of like, all right, there's a guy who is selling drugs. So you arrest him. He gets out on bail. Then he goes and shoots somebody. You arrest him. Somehow gets out on bail again. And then he goes and robs a liquor store. And then he gets out again. Okay, yeah, he's innocent right now until proven guilty in the courts, but we saw all the shit he did. It's kind of obvious at that point. And that's my problem. That's kind of what's going on with Ezra Miller here is there's just so much stuff that's piling up. It's hard to believe that at least one of those things is not true. There's got to be some truth to some of this. And the fact that he's with his mom in Vermont right now, allegedly in Vermont with his mother, who's supposedly helping him through, and there's rumor that he's going to seek help. If that is true, then we have to know that he's acknowledging, at the very least at this point, that these things going on is real and is true. So that, to me, that is what is concerning. And the three options that, the Hollywood Reporter is reporting on is option one: Ezra Miller's therapy went well, and he will do a public statement. He will then be limited to what he does on the press tour, and then they will release the Flash film. That is option one that they're supposedly mulling over. Option two is they will release the film regardless of what Miller does. And if he doesn't get the help he needs, if he doesn't do a public statement, he will be dismissed. He will not join in on the press tours, and they will recast the Flash moving forward. And then option three is scrapping the film, which I don't think is going to happen. You're talking about a $200 million film that they've spent $200 million on at this point. Yeah, they're probably going to spend another $100 to $200 million on marketing coming up. But if they get smart with the marketing, I think this film could still very, very easily break even or do slightly better than even. I think this movie, regardless of what happens, if they release this film, it'll easily make $400 to $500 million, if not more. So I think they're going to release it regardless. I think that's going to be the route they go. The question is, what is Ezra Miller going to do at this point? I personally think that Warner Brothers needs to get, they just need to be firm, because he's not just the face of this franchise. He's also the face of another running franchise for Warner Brothers. There's two franchises that he's the face of right now. And he's doing this. And that is absolutely crazy to me, because granted, the last Fantastic Beasts film wasn't fantastic, but it's still a franchise that has potential of moving forward in some form or fashion, and he's a big part of it. And then you have the Flash movie, which is supposed to be the big restart of the DCEU moving forward, and you have him doing the shit that he's doing now. To me, it's crazy. I just can't believe it now. But let us know in the comments what you think about this. This Ezra Miller shenanigan, everything going on is crazy at this point. Should they cancel the Flash? Should they not? Let us know in the comments what you think. What do you think, Ken? Do you think they should cancel the Flash movie? Do you think that's what they should do?
At this point, with everything that is up in the air, as my personal opinion, it would be unprecedented. It would be the most unprecedented move, I believe, in Hollywood history. But with the importance of this movie to this universe and the just circus that Ezra Miller has decided to bring with him to this movie and character, unfortunately, I think it would behoove them to just flat out call it quits on this and kind of figure out, focus, I guess, on more smaller budgets to kind of make up for the loss at this point, but then really bounce back in about 2 or 3 years and start announcing these big tentpole films where it makes sense, it fits inside of the timeline, rather than, just letting it release because it's been made. But I understand the monetary side of things as well, but I think just in all best interest to cut ties and avoid confusion moving forward, to just cancel it flat out. And that's a shame because it's something that I've just been so intrigued to see since it was announced, I don't know, all the way back in 2014. But yeah, that's just where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, 100% crazy, and I hope they do what's right. I do. I hope they do what's right. But I guess we'll see. I guess we will see.